I am making a dinosaur Ryu-ge deck profile. I I was looking at the different versions of Ryu-ge that are currently going around, which the top three are Sword, Soul, Invoked, and Dinosaur. I figured since of those three, all I had was Dinosaur, I go ahead and try Ryu-ge Dinosaur. And then another thing I thought about was trying to make Ryu-ge Yubel, which I need to know how the Ryu-ge cards work and combo together so I can try to actually put them into Yubel. Just because I think that it would actually work or kind of well together. I don't exactly know yet. Right now, it's just theory. But starting off with the monsters, I play one copy of Animadorned Argosaur. Argosaur has the effect that when it's summoned, you can destroy a dinosaur monster in your hand, then be able to add an evolution pill from your deck to your hand. And then I also play three copies of Baby Ceratosaurus and three copies of Petite Pteranodon. Some of my friends hate it when I play this deck, just because I play it with the motto of, if you're not abusing the baby, you're doing it wrong. Because neither of these two are once per turns. But they have the effect where if they're destroyed by card effect, then you can special summon a level 4 or higher or lower, depending on which one it is, dinosaur from your deck. Where Baby Ceratosaurus just lets you summon level 4 or lower dinosaur from your deck. And then Petite Pteranodon lets you summon level 4 or higher dinosaur, but it cannot attack for that turn. Next, I play one copy of Kaitotera. Kaitotera has the effect that when it is summoned, you can add a polymerization from your deck to your hand. And then if it's banished, you can special summon it and then add polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. Kaitotera is mainly just in here for the Hornsaurus monster, which when summoned lets you place a field spell from your deck to your field. And then next, I play two copies of Scrap Raptor. Scrap Raptor's only purpose in this deck is to be a level 4 tuner monster. Because I'm not playing Scrap Chimera, I'm not playing Scrap Golem, I'm not playing Scrap Wyvern. Unfortunately, I had to, scrap those from the deck. See what I did there. My jokes are terrible. But I figured Scrap Raptor is worth keeping in the deck since it is a level 4 tuner. And then I think it might also be able to destroy a monster on your field. Okay. But it does have the once per turn effect. You can target a monster in your field and destroy it. So if you randomly have a baby on your field, you can just activate Raptor's effect, destroy it, and summon a new dinosaur. And then next, I play three copies of Soul Eating Oviraptor. Oviraptor has the effect that when it's summoned, you can add to your hand or send a dinosaur monster from your deck to the graveyard. And then it also has the effect of once per turn, you can target a dinosaur monster on the field. You can target a dinosaur monster in your graveyard, destroy a dinosaur monster on the field, and if you do, summon that target from your graveyard in defense position. Which the fun part is that you can use it when you have the Lost World field spell, give your opponent a token, to then be able to use the field spell's effect to protect the token, to destroy a baby in deck, and then summon another dinosaur. And you can only use each effect of Soul Eating Oviraptor once per turn. Next, I play one copy of Miscellaneousaurus. I really hope Miscellaneous goes back to 3 at some point, just because I really miss Dinosaur actually being really good to play. But Miscellaneousaurus has the effect that during the main phase, quick effect, you can discard this card from your hand to make all dinosaur monsters you control for that main phase to be unaffected by your opponent's card effects, or activated card effects. And then you can banish it and then any number of other dinosaur monsters from your graveyard to summon a dinosaur monster from your deck that has a level equal to the number of monsters banished. Which usually you will discard this and then banish itself to summon Argosaur. Argosaur will destroy a baby in your hand, and you just combo from there. And then next, I play one copy of Giant Rex. Giant Rex is basically another kind of terror where if it's banished, then you can special summon it. Most people I know only play either one Giant Rex or one Kaitera, but I personally like both. Then I play one copy of Frostosaurus for the uh, Transcendent. I think it's called the Transcendent Engine. And then I play two copies of Xenometeorus. Xenometeorus has the effect that if a card in your hand or field is destroyed, you can special summon this card in your hand. And it also has the effect where you can destroy a card on your field or in your hand to then be able to special summon a normal dinosaur from your deck. However, if you use that effect, you're locked into Dragon, Dinosaur, Worm, and Sea Serpent from the extra deck, I believe. Let's see. Dragon, Dinosaur, Sea Serpent, and Worm. Which, if I remember correctly, just happens to also be the types of the Ryu-ge monsters. That's the main thing that made me think, wait, I wonder if these can be combined at all. Speaking of the Ryu-ge monsters, I play one copy of... Let's see, how do you pronounce this? Kyoto Ryu-ge Kaiba. Kaiba has the effect that... At a key point I say Kaiba for some reason. But Kaiba has the effect that if it's in your hand, you can shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, you can add one copy of... Let's see, what was it? Ryu-ge Realm Dino Domains from your deck to your hand. And then if two or more cards are destroyed that turn, you can special summon it from your hand, which most of the time if you're summoning this, it's probably going to be off of Petite Pteranodon. And then Kaiba also has the once per turn effect of being able to target cards your opponent controls up to the number of different monster types on the field and destroy them. And then you can use each effect of the Kyoto Ryu-ge Kaiba once per turn. The only reason I'm playing one is because it's technically recyclable in this deck. And then next I play two copies of Genro Ryu-ge Hakuva. One other thing I realized I forgot to mention is that Kaiba, in order to use this effect to destroy target cards your opponent controls equal to the number of different monster types and destroy them, in order to use that, it has to shuffle back the Dino Domain from your field back into the deck. Or is it placed on the bottom? Okay, no, you pass to place it on the bottom of the deck. But Hakuva has the effect that you can banish it to grab the... What was it? Ryu-ge Realm Wormwinds from your deck to your hand. And then if a card is banished, and this card's already banished, and there are two or more cards that are banished besides Hakuva, then you can special summon Hakuva. And then Hakuva also has the effect that you can put Wormwinds on the bottom of your deck to then be able to... I forget what it was specifically. Let's see. Add a Ryu-ge card from your deck, grave, or banish to your hand, except for another Hakuva. And then next I play two copies of Cairo Ryu-ge Enva, which lets you discard it to add Sea Spires from your deck to your hand. And if there are two or more monsters that are sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard this turn, except for Enva, then you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and then you can put... Or you special summon from grave. And then lastly, you can place a Sea Spires you control on the bottom of the deck to then banish your opponent's entire hand, and if you do, they draw the same number of cards. Blah, 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 blah. Why is it I read that and my first thought was, oh yeah, Trickstar's probably going to use that at some point. And then lastly, for the Ryu-ge monsters, I play three copies of Sosei Ryu-ge Mistva. Mistva is the boss monster of the Ryu-ge archetype, which has the effect of when it's in your pendulum scale, you can destroy it to then be able to add a Ryu-ge card from your deck to your hand. When you add a Ryu-ge card from your deck to your hand, then it's destroyed. And then I forget the other part already. Let's see, it has to be special summoned by its own effect. You can only special summon Sosei Ryu-ge Mistva. You can only special summon it once per turn. And if a monster or monsters on the field destroy a battle or card effect while its cards in your extra deck, you contribute one level 10 Ryu-ge monster, and if you do, special summon this card, treating it as a ritual summon. And then you can apply its effect, where you can destroy up to 2 cards you control, to then place up to that many Ryu-ge continuous spells from your deck to face up on your field. Which, I'll get to those Ryu-ge continuous spells shortly. And then to finish off the monsters, I play 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Ultimate Conductor Tyranno has the effect that it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. If it attacks a monster in defense position, it can send that monster to the graveyard to then inflict 1,000 points of damage. And then Tyranno's probably more vicious effect is its effective once per turn. You can activate its effect, destroy a monster from your hand or field. I think it has to be face up if it's on field. To then be able to flip all monsters your opponent controls face down. Then moving on to the spells, I play 1 copy of Double Evolution Pill. Double Evolution Pill just has the effect that you can banish a dinosaur and a non-dinosaur from your hand or graveyard to then special summon a level, 5 or higher dinosaur from the deck? Level 7 or higher dinosaur from the deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. That's one other thing I forgot to mention. Tyranno must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 dinosaurs from your graveyard. Which, if you're abusing the baby, won't be a problem. And then you can only activate 1 pill per turn. Then I play 1 copy of Polymerization for the Kaitaterra. Then I play 1 of each realm, the Ryu-ge realm Dino Domains, which has the effect that, they each have the effect you can only control 1. Then they each have their own unique effect. And then they each have an effect that can be used by the monster of their level 10. Let's see, was Ryu-ge Pendulum monsters and level 10 or higher monsters that was originally of that type can use the following effect. Whereas Dino Domains makes it so that all of your Ryu-ge monsters gain 300 attack, and then grants your level 10 or higher dinosaurs. Or Ryu-ge Pendulum monsters the effect of once per turn, when an effect of a monster on the field with attack less than this card is activated. Quick effect, you can place 1 Ryu-ge continuous spell you control on the bottom of the deck, negate that activation. Which, if you have all 3, you can use that effect 3 times. As long as you have 3 different monsters that can use it. Which, that's one thing I really like, because that makes Tyranno also a monster negate. But I play 1 of Dino Domains, and then Sea Spire just makes it so that your IG monsters can't be destroyed in battle, and gives them the effect of once per turn, quick effect, place 1 Ryu-ge continuous spell on the bottom of the deck, target a card on the field, and return it to hand. And then Wormwinds just makes it so that any monsters sent from the field to the graveyard during your opponent's turn are banished instead. But then gives your level 10 or higher worm monsters or Ryu-ge Pendulum monsters have the effect of once per turn, quick effect, you can place a Ryu-ge continuous spell on the bottom of your deck. Then target will face that monster on the field, its attack becomes 0. Honestly, this one probably won't ever be used much. It'll probably be used for the other 2 more often. But then I play 3 copies of Ryu-ge Rising. Ryu-ge Rising lets you add... Well, I guess while I read the 1, because I have yet to actually play them. This is all in theory. But Ryu-ge Rising has the effect you can add a Ryu-ge monster from your deck to your hand, to then add a Ryu-ge Pendulum monster from your hand to your face-up extra deck. And then during your main phase, if you control a Ryu-ge Pendulum monster, you can banish this card and one Ryu-ge monster from your graveyard to special summon Ryu-ge monster with the same original type as that banished monster from your deck. And then you can only use each effective Ryu-ge Rising once per turn. And then next, I play 3 copies of Ryu-ge Warzone. Warzone has the effect that when it's activated, you can take a dinosaur, a sea serpent, and a worm monster from your deck, add one to your hand, banish one, and send the other to the graveyard. And then you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn, except for dragon, dinosaur, sea serpent, or worm monsters. What do you know? The dinosaur deck just happens to use all of those. And then if you have Sosei Ryu-ge Misfit in your extra deck, face up, you can special summon 3 Ryu-ge monsters with different types, one each from deck, grave, and banish. And then you can only use each effect of Ryu-ge Warzone once per turn. One other thing I do want to know, though, is how Warzone interacts with Hornsaurus, which I'll get to later. But the main part is when this card is activated, is the main thing to keep in mind with the Hornsaurus. And then next, I play 3 copies of Lost World. Lost World has the effect that all non-dinosaur monsters on the field lose 500 attack defense. And then once per turn, when a dinosaur monster is summoned, then you can summon a Jura Egg token to the opponent's side of the field. And then once per turn, if a normal dinosaur monster be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy a dinosaur in your deck instead. And then while your opponent controls a token, they cannot target other monsters on the field except for that token. Which, I randomly played this deck against Makonko when they were new, and Makonko just could not play under Lost World. You give them a token, they can't activate any of their equip spells, which I think is hilarious. And then next, I play 3 copies of Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig just lets you add a level 6 or lower dinosaur from deck to hand. And next, I play 3 copies of Ground Xeno. Ground Xeno lets you add a dinosaur, tuner, or normal monster from your deck to your hand, and then you destroy a card in your hand. Which, usually the pairing for this is either baby plus is this plus a baby. Because what you do is you have this, add Xenometeorus, then you destroy the baby. And then you chain 1 baby, chain 2 Meteorus, so your opponent can't ash the baby. That's the main thing with that. Which then you summon Meteorus, then you summon Oviraptor, then you then activate Oviraptor's effect. Or you can summon literally anything you want, really, because of the baby. And then the last card... Oh, yeah, try it. And then Ground Xeno also has the grave effect if you can banish it to fusion summon a dinosaur fusion monster from your extra deck. And then lastly, for to round off the deck, I play 1 copy of Ryu-ge Rivalry, which lets you special summon 1 Ryu-ge monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, but return it to the hand during the end phase. And then you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a Ryu-ge continuous spell that is in your banishment, graveyard, or field, placed on the bottom of the deck. Then you can draw a card. And you can use each effect of Ryu-ge Rivalry once per turn. This is honestly just mainly used if you can't just beat your opponent in the turn you wanted to. But that is it for the main deck. If I remember it's like, I want to say 40 to 44 cards. I don't remember exactly. I just counted, and this is currently a 50 card deck. That honestly, you could probably cut down quite a few of the ratios, but this is just what I'm testing with right now. And then for the extra deck, I play 1 copy of Relinquished Anima. This is just so that you can link off the Amadorn after using its effect to search. which usually after making the anima, I make one copy of SP Little Knight, which then you can use the pill to then banish Anima and Amadorn to then summon an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Which also happens to give you 2 banished monsters for Ryu-ge Hakva. But probably should go over their effects. Anima, like I said, is only in here for the Animadorn, but if it's in a zone an opponent's monster is in, if your opponent's monster is in a zone it points to, you can then equip it with that monster. And then SP Little Knight, if someone with a monster is in the extra deck, you can then target 1 card on the field or in the graveyard and banish it. And then when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate SP Little Knight's effect, targeting 1 monster you control and 1 monster from the field to then banish both until the end phase. Then I play 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix just has the effect that when it's summoned, you can discard a card, target 1 spell or trap card on your opponent's field, destroy it. Then I play 2 copies of Horned Source. Horned Source has the effect that when it's summoned, you can activate its effect to place a field spell from your deck face up in your field zone. The main thing I was curious about was if you use Horned Source's effect to place a field spell face up. Let's see. Let's see, where is that effect? You need to know exactly how it was worded. If this card's fusion summoned, you can place a field spell from your deck or graveyard face up in your field zone. The main thing I don't know is if using Horned Source's effect and placing Ryu-ge War Zone on the field, if that gets around War Zone's first effect or not, because it says when it's activated, whereas Horned Source doesn't activate it. So if someone could explain that to me, I would be very grateful. But it also has an effect where immediately after its effect resolves, you can normal summon a dinosaur. And I believe it also has the effect where it can attack directly, but it can't attack the turn it's summoned. Okay, no, this card can't attack directly the turn it's special summoned. But usually it's not going to be on the field long because it just happens to be a level 6. Which means you're either going to use it as to make a rank 6 or a level 10 synchro. And then I also play the 1 copy of Transcendosaurus Gigantozauer. Gigantozauer has the effect that if it's special summoned, then you can target a monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. And then if it's destroyed, then you can shuffle a normal monster from your graveyard back into the deck to then special summon it. One thing I forgot to mention when it's special summoned is that if it was special summoned from the graveyard, you can then destroy 1 card in your hand and 1 card in your opponent's field. So if you destroy this with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno on your opponent's turn, then Gigantozauer will come back, add a baby to your hand, and then you can destroy said baby and 1 card in your opponent's field, summon an Oviraptor in defense mode, just an example, and then use Oviraptor to then add another dinosaur you want for your next turn. Which, I actually don't know if Oviraptor can add another Oviraptor. Let's see. It can. Neat. Good to know. And then for synchros, I play 1 copy of Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. This card's mainly just in here to banish a monster when your opponent activates a monster effect. But Draco Berserker of the Tenyi has the effect that I have to read again because I don't remember exactly how it works. When an opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish it. And if this attacking card destroys an effect monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, it gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Also, it can make a second attack on a monster during this battle phase. And you can only use each effect of Draco Berserker of the Tenyi once per turn. Then I play 1 copy of Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend. Scarlight has the effect that while it's on the field or in the graveyard, its name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend. And then once per turn, you can activate its effect to be able to destroy all special summoned effect monsters on the field that have attack less than or equal to its own, and then inflict 500 points of damage for each monster destroyed. Fun fact, that is a soft once per turn, so if you get it off the field and can bring it back, you can do it again. And then lastly, for the Synchros, I play one copy of Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Changing. Changing has the effect where it gains 100 attack and defense for every banished monster, or for every banished card, and then all monsters your opponents control lose 100 attack and defense for each banished card. And then, if Changing would be destroyed by, I think it's battle or card effect, or is it just card effect? If this card be destroyed by card effect, you can banish one card from your graveyard instead. And then if a card or cards are banished except during the damage step, you can banish one card each from your opponent's field and graveyard. You can only use each effect of Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign Changing once per turn. And then next, I play 3 copies of Evil Zard Dolka. Dolka is a once per chain? Okay, not even once per chain. But when your opponent activates a monster effect, Dolka can detach material, negate that effect, and destroy it. Then I play 1 copy of Evil Zard Logia. Logia has the effect that when your opponent would summon a monster or activate a spell or trap, you can detach 2 materials, negate the activation or summon, and then destroy that card. Then I play 1 copy of Evil Zard Lars. Lars has the effect that once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach 2 materials to then be able to target 1 card on the field and negates effects till the end of the turn. But you can detach 1 instead as long as it has a dinosaur or reptile as material. Which, well, you know, it's a dinosaur deck. It's always going to have that. So, if you have Dolka, Logia, and Lars, you have an Omni negate, 2 monster negates, and then a summon or spell trap negate. And then lastly, I play 1 copy of Varudris, the final bringer of the end times. I would play more, but at the moment I only have 1, so I can only play 1, but I would love to get my hands on 2 more. But Varudris has the effect that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach a material to then negate that effect. And then you can detach 1 more material to then destroy that card, which most of the time I wouldn't do that last one. And then Varudris also has more effects past that, but I can never remember because I never get to activate them. Let's see. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks or has material, you can destroy 1 card in the field. And if the succeeds summon card is destroyed, you can destroy 1 card in the field. You can only use each effect of Varudris, the final bringer of the end times, once per turn. And that is it for my Dinosaur Ryu-ge deck profile. It is currently 50 cards. I'm still working on ratios. But once I actually make a version that I'm comfortable with, I will make a video of it. But if you have any ideas of what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas for decks I can see made in the future, or face each other, or if you know the interaction between Horn Source and Ryu-ge Warzone, since Warzone's effect only triggers when activated, but Horn Source just places the field spell face up. But I've seen tons of things where the combo is Horn Source places Warzone face up, which I don't think Horn Source actually triggers Warzone, since it says when this card is activated. Horn Source doesn't activate. That's the reason I was playing the Silvori Calcos in this deck for the longest time. But if you know the answer to that, please let me know. And thank you for watching. I always read the comments.